Um, all right. Let me do this, and then when we take the break, I will come back to that.
Sir, I'm having difficulty getting on, so.
All right. So let me just continue this, and then we get back to that part. All right. All right. I'm going to go to. I might do a video on this. I think that would be a good idea to do a video instruction on it. But we will see. So what I was saying, guys, is that if I open Revit first, and you don't have the file like on your desktop or anywhere to access the folder, you would have to know where it says file name. You would have to paste the code that I gave you here. This is my own. So when I paste it there, I will see the project file there, and then I will open it. It's a 2024 file. Oh, right. So where we were is that we were setting up our username. Right. So for those of you who are not using the Autodesk username, you're going to go up to File, and then you're going to go to Options. Just give mine a while to start. Go to File and go to Options.
So you see when I post the the name there, it's restricting me, saying that I don't have access to the folder.
All right. Yeah. I'm gonna come back to it. It could be one or two reasons, but we have to move a little bit so that before the break.
Wanted you to remember, yeah?
Yeah, man.
Blessings.
So we'll go to File, we'll go to Options. This is what you should see come up. And down at the bottom, where is it now? Here, where you see username. Remember, those of you who are not signed up with Autodesk, you need to have a username. Now, for most of us, it will probably default to a part of your Windows username. So I want you to put in, like, you can put in your name and your ID. So for example, I could say, Brian. When you type it, goes over there. I could say Brian Williams 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So my ID number is 0, and then I'll choose OK. So now Revit has that ID for you. Now the reason why you're setting up ID from now is because you're going to use it later in the collaborative project. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to ease off the pressure of you doing all of this at the end of the semester. We're doing it from the beginning, so we use it for the rest of the semester. All right, everybody with me so far? Well, those of you who are in Revit.
So, sir, my thing now. So everybody is on this one file right now. So that's why it's moving so slow.
No, well, from you open it, it doesn't matter whether you're on the file or not. It shouldn't be. It doesn't affect the speed. Maybe to save it or to open it. If everybody does it at once, then sure. But using it,
okay.
That is totally dependent. And while we're working on this file, by the way, guys, you're not going to be connected to the server, meaning it's not going to depend on the speed of your internet or all of that when you are working on the file personally. Because remember, this concept that we said here is the file is going to duplicate itself, and then you are going to work on the file that is on your computer. So this is what we're going to set up now. All right, so when you have that done, what you're going to do is you are going to go to Collaborate. And what we're going to do now is that we're going to change this file into a collaboration file. Now, you are only collaborating with yourselves, by the way, right? But you are setting up the whole collaboration thing from now so you can get familiar with how it works. But you're not going to be collaborating with yourself. Sorry, you're not going to be collaborating with other people. You are going to be the only collaborator on this file. All right. So we're going to go to collaborate in Revit. That's up the top. And then we're going to do this thing here that says, where is it? We're going to click the collaborate button. So notice when I hover over it, it says enables collaboration so team members can work on a model simultaneously. Now, as I said, guys, you will be the only team member in your file, right? In this case. But later on, we're going to collaborate, but not yet, right? So everybody should be doing this individually, right? So I'm going to choose. Yeah?
In regards to the name, right? Since I had switched laptops, I'm using my brother's computer. So I have his Autodesk logged in. So it says like Krishna or Archat instead of Karif or Archat, but I'm on the laptop.
Yeah, that's okay. But now that you bring that up, if you switch computers during the process,
Okay, I'll just use this one for the rest of it.
Okay, good. All right. My brain don't go down that road yet. All right. But guess what? This is a real thing. Like if you're working in a firm that collaborates with their Revit file, like, you know, everybody has different users. So, anyway, we'll get to that when we talk about collaboration. All right, so if you're following, let me X this off. So what you're going to do, you go to the collaborate menu, then you click collaborate. You will see this message come up. It's giving you two options and it's saying, do you want to collaborate in the cloud or within your network? Now, what we did here is that we set up our own little network in our classroom, right? And we set up a network that can communicate remotely. So we're not going to use the cloud. By the way, point to note, if you use the cloud, it is actually a subscription service. So there is no way to use the cloud without paying. Fun fact, I think in 2019, no, it was COVID or it was 2019. I think it was before COVID. We tried out the cloud 1 year. And what we did, we got everybody to sign up for a trial version of Autodesk Cloud, which only gave you 30 days to finish the assignment. Because after this, you couldn't access your work. So, yeah. So, but that didn't really work out. Because, of course, there were some people who didn't finish after 30 days, and those groups couldn't access the file. So then we switched from cloud to within a network. But anyway, that's some little history for you. Anyway, you're going to choose within your network and choose OK. Everybody with me so far?
Sir, that username, I think it's to set up because I missed.
To set up your username, you go to File. By the way, you already have a username, but I'm just trying to make it nice and neat. So once you install Revit, it gives you a username, but it's going to be kind of weird. So you go to File, you go to Options, and then under Options in general, right there, you will see Username. Just enter your name. Oops, I have two eyes. Just enter your name and your ID. Okay, let me see. There you go. Yep.
So you said
my thing can't press.
Yeah, I can't change it. Say again?
Well, I'm unable to change my name.
Oh, because you have signed into Autodesk, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So you don't, if you are signed into Autodesk, you don't need to do this because you already have an ID from Autodesk. Yes.
So we don't have to do the whole collaborate process at all?
No. All of us are doing that. All of us are doing that. But if you are signed into Autodesk, you don't need to edit your username. Actually, you can't. You can't edit your username. Right.
But it's not allowing me to press in the cloud.
No, you're not supposed to choose in the cloud. When you go to
It's within your
collaborate,
network?
right?
Oh. Then never mind.
Right. Make sure you choose within your network.
Sir.
Yeah, go ahead. Who is this? Samantha?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, the name that's on it is not mine.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. As long as you have a username. And guess what? You didn't even have to change it, but it's just that Revit will give you some weird usernames, and whenever we start to collaborate, it's easy for us to identify each other in the model when we have a username. All right? But as I said, this is not for now, this is for later. Karif, what's up? Is that an old hand, Karif? No? Yes? No? Okay. All right. So let me go again. Everybody has gone to collaborate and click collaborate, and then you choose within your network. So when you choose within the network, notice that this only says within cloud, because it says within cloud because you are already in. There is only two options, in network and in cloud, and you are already in network. All right, now that that is done.
Wait, sir, what was the next step after the collaborate step?
Just choose within network.
And that's it?
And that's it. Now we're going to the next step.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So now we're going to go to File, and we're going to go to Save As. So now we're going to save the project. Now the difference is that before, when we had, because we chose the option to collaborate in network, now when we save the file, it is going to save it in a, it is going to save a central file. It's going to save a file that allows multiple persons to work together in this file. So that is why we're saving the file again as a new file name. All right, don't worry, this will start to soak in as we go along. All right, I know that it looks kind of, but learning how to collaborate remotely in Revit is something that you just can't leave CSA nowadays and you don't know how to do that. A lot of places are working remotely. You know, you put on your resume that you know how to do remote in Revit. It's a plus. So, and this is the only module that we take time out to actually do that. So let's enjoy it while it lasts. Right? All right. Okay, so everybody's with me so far. So I go to File and I go to Save. Now when you save the file, we need to save it. This is important. We have to save it in the location using the IP address that I gave you. There is no other option but to do this. So what you're going to do is, if you look on the message that I sent you with the IP address. So in my case, this is mine. In your case, it is different. So you need to save this in the folder that is on the network. Everybody understand so far? Some of us probably know about this whole path and pasting and all of that already, but this might be new to some of us, all right?
Yeah.
That one more time.
So you need to save this file. I go to File, I go to Save As, and I need to save this file in that network location. So the only way to get to the network location is that you have to paste the IP address that I gave you.
Sure, and you save it to a cloud model, right?
Say again?
You save it as a cloud model or as a project file?
No, it's just going to be a project file that we save it as. But the type of project file that it is one that we can collaborate in, meaning multiple persons can access the file. You see, a regular Revit file, when you just use Revit and you save it normally, multiple persons cannot use that file. But when you save it as a collaborative file, you can have 2 persons, 10 persons, 50 persons using the same file all at once. So we are saving that collaborative file right now.
Okay.
So this is why we have to save it again after we enable network collaboration. Right.
Okay.
Right. Now, this process, if you become what's called BIM coordinators, then you are responsible for this process in an office. But not all of us will need to know this, but you will at least need to know about it. So when you guys form groups, one of you will be a coordinator, meaning you will be the person that makes sure that this process, you make sure that everybody is set up and blah, blah, blah. Right? But I need everybody to know this because, as I said, we're trying to make it so that everybody gets this experience at the beginning. Even if you never use it again, at least you can say you did do it. All right, so when I put in the IP address here, that address that I gave you in Zoom, and you choose save, it's going to carry you to that folder location, right? So if I click this thing up here, you can see that I'm on the network, I'm on this server here, and I'm in student 000. For you, you will see 01 or whatever your student, whatever your ID is, all right? Now I'm going to name the file. So in this case, I would name this maybe I would name it major project. Maybe I would put my name. So Brian, major project. And I'm going to name this central file. And here's an interesting thing. I'm going to call it central file V for version 1. That's just a habit. I think it's a good habit, and we'll see later on. The main idea is that I want to name it the word central file so I can know that it's a central file. It's still going to be a RVT file. And this is the thing about Revit. It doesn't tell you that this file is a regular project file or a collaborative file. Both of them is just RVT. You know, I wish it would identify it a different way, but that's just how it is. And I'm going to click save. Now, as I said, guys, you have to do this in this folder. You can't do it on your desktop. Don't do it on your desktop. You have to do it in that location that I gave you. All right, I'm going to choose save.
Wait, so what happened after you paste your ID in the file name again? Because I lost from there.
All that allowed me to do is it allowed me to, I'm trying to think if there's a shorter way. When you paste the number that I gave you, it carried you to the location. So, for example,
Let's say it opens up in the location already.
Oh, well, that's fine. If it opens in
Yes,
the location.
that's why I was not confused.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Because what happened is that some of us have the file, and remember, some of us were saying that you copied the file to your computer and all of that stuff. So not everybody opened it from the location. Some persons might have had it in their desktop, on their desktop, and then they open the file. They would have need to paste the the number in to get to the location. So I'm sorry I confused those of you who already were at the location. Yeah. So that is the only reason why I ask you to paste it there, so that you can save this central file in that location. All right. Okay, so are we all done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now what I want you guys to do is you are going to close Revit. Do you need to sync? Hold on. Do you need to? No, before you close Revit, do you have to sync? I don't think you have to. Let me see. Let me test it first. So you don't have to do what I'm doing. I want to make sure that what I tell you is good to go. Yes, go ahead with your question.
Sir, for my in the collaborate space, sir, it's kind of grayed out.
It's grayed out?
Yep.
If it's grayed out, that means that. So when you click the word collaborate, the word collaborate is grayed out. What about the word work sets?
Work set is highlighted, sir.
All right. Which version of Revit are you using? 2024?
Yes. Yes, sir, 2024.
Okay. I should know it from there now. Oh, it won't. And you say when you go to collaborate, you're saying this is grayed out.
Hold on, sir. Let me check again.
Right. It shouldn't be grayed out.
Oh, no, sir. It's fine.
Oh, okay. So you should be under collaborate, and then you choose collaborate, and then you get this option that's right here. And you're going to make sure you choose within network. I think I'm going to do a video on this, guys, just to make sure everybody get it. All right. So, what you're going to do is, yes, good. It works. It works. All right. So you still have the file open, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So now what you're going to do is you're going to close Revit. Or I should make you close the project, but it's fine. It's okay if you close Revit. So you're going to close Revit. Close the project. Everybody with me? Remember, you saved it already.
Yes, sir.
And when you saved it in the location, in the network location. So in that network location, everybody will have two files. They will have the one that was in there before, and they will have this other one that has their name and called central file. All right. So now, for those of you who close Revit, you're going to open back Revit. If you close the project, so now here is what I want you to do. I want you to, for most of us, you will see a recent file here. So for me, I'm seeing there that because I recently opened this file. If you're seeing this, just ignore it. I want you to go to open. And I want you to go to the file that we just created. And the file that we just created here, make sure you choose this one. Now, before you open it, I want to show you something interesting. This is the original file that I gave you guys, right? Student project start, Revit 2024. Now notice, when I click on the central file that I just saved, notice you see this option come up that says detach from central. And you see this option come up that says create new local. Now, if I click on the one that is the original one, this is a regular Revit file. So you open Revit, you do some work, you save it. That's a normal Revit file. Notice I don't get those options here under work sharing. So the regular Revit file, it doesn't have those options. But this central file here that I saved, after I enabled collaboration and then save the file, now it gives me these options here. So this is how you know that this file is a collaborative file, because you're getting these options. Now you don't need to change any of these options, you know. I just wanted to highlight that to you, because I don't know if any of you is wondering, like, how would I know if a Revit file is a collaboration file or not? Because if you just look on the file, it's not like it have a different icon or a different extension. It just looks like a normal file. So you know, so how you know is that when you go to open a collaborative file, it has this option that's your work sharing options come alive. But with a regular Revit file, you don't get any work sharing options. And work sharing is the word that Revit used to describe collaboration. Now, as I said, we are only going to be collaborating with ourselves, right? So, you know, but we are setting this up from now because it's a bit to absorb, and I rather we absorb it through while we're working on the project, rather than waiting till the end and then we have to cram all of this information in at the end of the semester. So it's a little bit more relaxed now. All right, so of course I'm going to choose the collaboration file. Oh, by the way, notice that Revit created this file called with a backup at the end. That's perfectly normal. All right, so if you're seeing this file, don't be alarmed. That's what should happen with a collaboration file. This is actually storing backups of that file, by the way. This is how the collaboration file stores backups. All right, so I'm going to choose this file that I just created, and I'm going to choose open. And crap, you're not going to get this option because I already did this. Okay, wait, I want to do exactly what will happen on your screen, because I don't want it to. I know that some of us might be like, oh my God, that's not on my screen. Why is it on your screen, but it's not on mine? Don't worry about it. So I'm going to go to open. I'm going to go to that location, and I'm going to open the file right here. Now, the file might take a little while to open because it's opening it through the network, but that's fine. It will maybe take like 5 minutes. Now, as I said, this step that we're doing, guys, we're only doing it once. So we're only doing this today. But then after this, you will just open Revit and work like normal. Is everybody with me so far? Some people?
Sir, I'm trying to find the document to remove it from the central file, but I'm searching for it in Revit after I save it and I can't find it. So
hold on, repeat. You're trying to find the document?
Yes, sir. You said after we save it, we're supposed to what is it? Disconnected from the central file?
No,
Or
no,
something
no,
like
no,
that?
no, no, no. After you save it, you close the project.
Yeah.
And then you open back the project. That's literally what you do.
Just reopen the project?
Just reopen the project. But when
Alright.
you go to reopen the project, make sure you do it through open. Don't do it through recent, that recent list that you have. It should work fine either way, but I want everybody to do the same thing so that we have the same experience. All right, so let me just go through the steps while some of us catch up. So what we did is we opened the project file. Then this should be a one-way arrow. Then we enabled collaboration and we use the within network. Then we saved the file. And I'm going to put in bold in the, I'm going to say on the server. On the server. But this is important. We didn't save the file on our computer. We saved it on the server. Then we closed the project. And then we open the project again. And what we're looking at here is these are instructions. This is how we create a collaborative project in Revit. All right, so this is what we did. So we opened the project, we enabled collaboration within the network, we saved the file on the server, then we close that project, and then we open it again. Is there anybody wondering why we close it and open it again? Nobody?
Yes, sir.
The short version is the way that Revit is meant to work. Imagine you were the BIM manager. The right word is BIM coordinator, BIM manager. So it's almost like, I'll put this here. The way that Revit intends this to work is that the BIM manager would do these steps. They would open a file. They basically would set up the file for it to work collaboratively. Then who did ask me that file? Who would open the file again? Anybody? After the BIM manager do this, who would open the file?
Person's working in the file, sir.
Exactly, the person's working in the file. So this last step is really meant for the user. So the manager set up the file, and then the user, use the file. But in our situation, we are the manager and the user, if you know what I mean.
Straighten that BIM object 1-2.
What you say, OCD?
Yeah, straighten. That is it.
Right. So we are the users and we are also the manager. And I want everybody to leave this module knowing how to be both, right? So for example, when you walk into a firm and you need to work on a project, and it's a big project, maybe it's a 4-story building, and maybe the architect in charge, the principal, said, look, I will need everybody to be on this project, right? Then Alex can say, oh, let's use work sharing so that we can all work together. Why? Because Alex knew how to do work sharing from BIM class. Now, if you didn't know how to do work sharing, then you're going to have a kind of, I call it a caveman system, where you say, all right, Gifford, you do the ground floor, and then Kimberly, you do the first floor, and then Nicole, you do the third floor, and then when you're done with your file, you give me and I'll copy my thing into the project, and then I'll copy somebody else's thing, or I will link the file over. Not that you can't do it that way, but come on, guys, it's 2024. I mean 2025. Right? So this is how you do a collaborative project. Now, as I said, you're going to see this 2 times. You're going to see it now at the beginning, and then we're going to kind of forget about it a little bit because we're going to be building our project in Revit, which is nothing that you guys are a stranger to. You already use Revit already. But later, we're going to turn that into a collaborative project, and then this whole thing is going to come back full circle for us again. All right. All right. So is there everybody did this step?
No, sir. I got kicked out for a moment.
Oh, okay. I am going to do, well, we will have this video there. I actually did a work sharing video already a couple years ago, but I think I want to update it. Remember, we can always rewatch this video. There's going to be a lot of repeating if you rewatch this class, though. So you're going to have to fast forward through all of the repeating. So everybody here got access to the server, right? And the server is where you're logged in and you're able to access that file. So everybody should open that file and turn that file into a collaborative project file. And these are the steps to do it. After you access the server, you open the file that you see in your folder. You enable collaboration in Revit. You go to the little collaboration tab. Then you need to save back the file on the server. Make sure you save it on the server. Can't stress that enough. Don't save it to your desktop. Save it on the server. And then you're going to close the project. And then you're going to open the project again. You go to File and you go to Open. All right. Now, when you open the project again, this is what you will see. It will look like the project and everything is normal. But I want to show you something interesting. If you head over to your My Documents, right? I have a lot of files. Here we go. If you head over to your My Documents, what you will notice is that you will see a file called, well, it will have the same name as the file that you made, and then you will see Brian, you will see your username at the end. Crap, this was my username before I close Revit. Oh man. I made a mistake. I should have told you guys to change your username and close Revit and then open back Revit. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Because you realize in this that it has my username before I changed it, but it doesn't matter. So you're gonna see a Revit file in your My Documents, and you might be saying, how did a Revit file get here? I didn't save the file here. But the truth is that anytime you go to open a collaborative file, like this file here, when I go to open this file, Revit is going to automatically create a local file on my computer. So what that means is that when I want to continue working on this project, I can just go to my documents and I can just open this and continue working. Hold on a minute. Is this going to be, oh, you are going to give me that.
So when you do that, sir, is it that you have to relink the file again when you're trying to upload it to the server? If you open it from the My Document, as it is a local file now.
Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Oh, I have. One second. This. Oh, I have two Revit. I got two Revits open, so I got them mixed up. Okay, which one is which one? I don't know. Let me go to save as. Okay. Let me save this. Close this. Oh. Give me 1 sec, guys. I got too much files on. Where is the date modified? Here we go. Yeah. Oh, okay, good. So why was I getting that message a while ago? Let me close this. Let me close this. Come on, Revit. Oh, you see, the same thing happened to me a while ago because I double clicked the file. So it's open it in Revit 2025. So yeah, you have to open Revit first. Yeah. Okay. Just give me a sec, guys. I'm just testing this on my end to make sure that it works. Here we go. So here is Revit. And is don't crash. Yeah, this is the file that I have here. Yeah. Yeah. This should work just fine. There we go. All right. All right. What was the question you were asking, Gifford?
I was just asking that the local file that they create, if you open it from the local file destination, that's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
We have to resync the file to upload it to the server.
Ah, I'm glad you asked that question. On occasion, yes. But for the most part, you will just be working like that file was a regular Revit file, so to speak. So you would be saving. So so for example, I just opened Revit just now, and let me do it the long way. I went to open, and then I go to my documents, and ignore all of these files. Like I have too much files. But anyway, this is the file I just saved, right? See it here, that says central project, whatever, and I open that file. So this is just acting like a normal Revit file, right? Yes, I may have caused you guys some grief. I may have caused you some grief. You know why? Because earlier when I asked you guys to change your username, I should have asked you to close and open Revit, because Revit doesn't save your username. It doesn't save your username when you click OK. I forgot about that. It only saves it after you close Revit and open it back, which kind of sucks. So this is what I want you guys to do for me, because you're going to end up with that same issue. So basically what happened is that I changed my username and I saved the project. So Revit didn't really change my username when I changed it. I would have to close Revit, open it up back, and then continue to do what I'm doing. So what happened now is that when I open Revit, Revit is saying, hey, your username changed. And this, you didn't make this file with this username. So yeah. So here's what we do, guys. Let us do this process again.
So one question before we start that. If you never change your username,
yeah, you have no problem. Yeah,
okay.
You have no problem. Yeah. It's just me causing some more headache because I asked you to change your username, but I forgot to tell you to close Revit and open it back, because Revit didn't save that change. Right? Okay, those of you who did not change your username, those of you who did change your username, let's do this again. All right? And then we'll take a 5-minute break, and then we will jump in the project and start to do some work. All right? Okay, so let's go again. So this is great because those who I kind of left you in the dust, you get a chance to jump on the train now. So those who change their username, let's pretend that you're just starting. Like you just got access to the server and you're about to set up the collaboration file. All right, you guys with me? Guys?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So let's go. So you have this folder that's here. Well, let's start from the very beginning. The first thing you do is you change your username and close Revit. So for example, I'm going to go to File. You don't even have to open a project. You just open Revit. You don't have to open anything. You just go to the little icon at the top. You go to File. You go to Options. And you change your username. So for this example, I made an error. I put 2 I's in my name. So at least I get to fix it. So I'm going to call this Brian. I'm going to give it a different name. Brian Williams. I'm just going to put it there. This is my username. I choose OK. Then I need to close Revit because Revit did not save it until I chose it. So now I'm going to open back Revit now. All right.
Sir, what if you don't have the option to change your username?
Then that's fine. You don't need to do any of this that I'm saying. You're good to go. So now when I open back Revit, I'm just going to double check. I'm going to go to Options and there we go. My username is changed. So now I can proceed to doing the rest of the stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the project from the location. So for those of you that I gave you the location, this is mine. So you paste it in Run, then you choose OK. I don't have to enter my username and password again because I have already done that and I chose the option to save the username, so I don't have to enter it again. So here you go. So for me, I need to open this file that says student start. Now I'm not going to double click it because if I double click it, it's going to open in Revit 2025. So instead, I need to go to this folder location. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, Open. I'm going to paste that location here. so that when I press enter, it will just go to that folder. Like that. And here is the file. That's called student project start. So I'm gonna open that file. All right, the file is now open. This is a normal Revit file. It is not a collaborative Revit file. So what I need to do now, I need to change this to a collaborative Revit file. So how do I do that? Well, I go over to collaborate, and in collaborate, I'm gonna click the word collaborate. Then Revit is gonna ask me, hey, how do you want to collaborate? Do you want to collaborate within your network or in the cloud? We're gonna choose within the network, right? As I said, the cloud is a subscription that you have to pay for. So we're gonna choose within the network. And this will be within our class network that we just created. We're gonna choose OK. Now, once we do that, that's it. This file is now a collaborative file, but we need to save it, right? So we're gonna go to File, Save As, Project, and we're gonna save it in the same location. So I'm gonna make sure that I'm in my student folder that's here, right? And I'm gonna save it as a new file name. So I'm gonna call this, I'm just gonna say Brian, I'm gonna say major project. Major project central file. Always a good idea to write the word central file just so that you can know that it's a collaborative file. That's what the Revit calls their collaborative files, central files. And I'm a big fan of putting version 1 because I always save stuff progressively. I don't know if some of us do that, 01, 02, 03. So I'm gonna just say version 1, or you can put 01 if you're a fan of that. And that's it. I'm gonna just choose save. Now this is being saved on the server, and that's it. Now that the file is saved, I'm gonna close the project. All right, so the BIM manager has now set up the file. Now the user, which in this case is ourselves, we're gonna open the file. Now, point to note, even if you are a solo user, meaning you are the BIM manager and the user, you still have to close the central file before you open it back, right? You can't just start working like that. You have to close it and then you open it back. That part is important. Anyway, so you're gonna go to open now. And for me, I'm in the location that I was previously, but I can always paste the the IP address that I gave you, and then we can choose open. So if you are already in this location, you don't need to paste it, obviously. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to open the central file. So I'm a user now wanting to join this project, meaning I want to collaborate in this project. This is what I have to do. I have to go and open the central file. And there you go. It should open fine without error. Now, automatically, just by the nature of me opening this file, Revit has created a local file for me in my documents folder by default, right? That is just what Revit will do. So if I look in my documents folder here, you'll notice that, Revit created a copy of that central file here. So let's say that I start to work now. So let's say that I go for my wall tool and, I'm drawing and I'm doing stuff, and I finish drawing and, let's say I go to a 3D view, and I'm just doing stuff in the project. I can just click save, like how I would normally save. And I can close the file if I want to. No. Oh, I didn't close the. This was the. Oh no, I need to close. Right, so I can close it like what I normally do, and Revit is asking me, do I want to synchronize with Central? So what? Remember, if you remember our diagram earlier. Remember how this works? We are working in our computer, but our computer is synchronized to the server. Now, we can work and save normally, but in order to send those changes to the server, you have to sync. So this is syncing. And over here is saving. So normally when you work in your Revit file, you click save and it saves just fine. But in order to send your changes to the server, you have to synchronize. Now the reason you do this is because there's another person over here that's also working, right? Another user. And that user is working away just like you. But they also have to sync. Because if they don't sync, then this person won't be able to see what this person over here did. Now, you don't have to sync all the time. Like, you could just work like this, for the whole day. It doesn't matter. And then at the end of the day, you sync. Or you could sync all the time. It's totally up to you. So when I close Revit, Revit is asking me, hey, do I want to sync this file with the file on the server? Now, if I choose no, then it's fine. That it just means that I won't send the changes to the server. And if somebody else was also working in this project, they wouldn't see the changes. Or I can just synchronize to the model. So this is what I mean by occasionally you should sync, especially like during class. But then maybe when you're working in the middle of the night, you sync whenever you want, basically. Right? So I'm going to I'm going to choose to sync in this case, and I'm going to choose OK. Just leave everything default, choose OK. Now syncing will take a while depending on your internet connection, which is why I say you don't have to sync all the time, right? And that is the process. Now from here on, whenever I want to work on this project, I just need to open Revit. And I just need to open that file in my documents. This file, this is the local file. And I just need to continue working like a regular Revit file. So, I could just say, like a weird roof or something, choose OK. There we go. And I'm working. And now I want to save. I can click save. I can even save as, like for those of you who want to save like different versions of the file, so I can save 01, doesn't matter. And, then I can close the file. Revit is always going to ask me, hey, you have done some work. Do you want to sync this file with the server? You can if you want, but at this time I'll choose no. I don't want to sync the file, right? But just know that whatever change that I just did, it's not synchronized to the server. All right, so are you guys following me? Did you follow that re-explanation? Kinda? Some of us still lost?
Sir, go back to that. Can you go back to that, how you saved it to your like local files?
Right. You mean the diagram here?
No, like as in how, because I tried to, let's say for example, I put a wall. I saved it to my local files, but I never got the option to sync.
Oh, well, and it is, okay, so what you can do is did you close it already?
Yeah, I closed it and opened it back and I got everything back up.
Right, so tell me, so when you go to open And let's say I go back to open this file. Before I click open on the file, do you see your work sharing options activated? You don't have to change anything, but do you see it activated?
Let me try and close it and open it. Oh wait, no, hold on. I was about to close and it just asked me to say, okay.
Exactly,
okay.
because Revit will, I think it has a timer that it, like if it detects that, you know, you did a certain amount of work, it will ask you to sync.
Okay.
So guys, this is a demonstration of how you would work Revit in a I would say properly in a firm. Like a lot of people just open Revit and they start working, and that's fine. But if you want to collaborate efficiently with other persons, the file that you're working on needs to be on a server, and you need to, you know, have your username and all of this stuff done. Now, once it's done, you just work like how you normally would work in Revit. You just open the file and continue working. But when we reach later in the project now, and then we have other users that wants to access the server, this is when you will see the benefit of this, right? Because we have a central file set up, we can have multiple persons jump in on the model to get work done. So what happened with some firms is that you have some people that always work in a central file. Like they don't work in a normal Revit file, because you can have somebody jump in and out of the project anytime, right? Unlike when it's just a normal Revit file, like suppose you save your file in Dropbox, for example, and somebody else opens that Revit file and they work on it. When they save, what happens to the file, Antonio?
Sorry, come again?
If you just use Dropbox or OneDrive, let's say that two of you working on a project, right? And one user opens the file and works, and then they save it, right? What happens? This is
on the cloud you're talking.
Yeah, this is on the cloud. This is in your regular Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever.
I guess it just makes the changes to that one file, and then
exactly
the next person that accesses it sees the changes.
All right. Now, what if you, Gifford, and Karif were working on a project, and all of you opened that file in Dropbox? You didn't know that each one of you were working. Let's say the file is in Dropbox and all three of you open it. And all three of you do work, and all three of you save. What will happen to that file?
Does it still save normally?
Oh, very no.
Okay, I figured.
What happened to that file, Gifford? Give it a try.
So yes, sir, all always save and sync at the same time?
No. We're not talking about it. We're just talking normal Revit file. You put a file in Dropbox and you say, yeah man, the file is here. And all three of you get up in the middle of the night. You all don't know that you all get up. When you just get up and start work. And then all three of you save. What happens to that file?
It's whoever save it last. So all of those changes will just get rid of.
Exactly. So this is why we have a central file. This is why we have collaboration, where anybody can just jump in the file at any point of the time and work on it and save. And your changes, you don't replace the file. Whatever thing you change gets updated. Now the fun part comes when you see everybody working in a file. Anybody here plays? No, Call of Duty too fast. Anybody play any slow-paced game network, like, I don't know, a strategy game or something?
Yes, sir.
Right. And all of you are in the same game, moving the blocks. So imagine in Revit, all of you are in the same model. And, you know, some persons can adjust a wall and make certain things bigger, make things smaller. That is how work sharing works. All of you are in the same model, working on the same thing, almost like you're in a game moving objects. It's just that it's not so direct. Meaning, when Gifford moves a wall, it's not as if you're going to see that wall move real time. Gifford has to sync, and then you see the wall move. It's not like that. Maybe in the future, but that's how it is now. But the point is that anybody can jump in the file and work. Now, as I said, you are the only person that will be working in this file for the next 6 weeks, right? And this will help you to get used to the whole working collaboratively thing, but by yourself. Then, after about 6 weeks or so, we're going to switch over to collaborative, where you all should be used to this system already, and we will just have people grouping up and continue to work on the model. And that's when we're going to explore the other features that are in the work sharing, the collaborative panel. Because there are all of these little features here, but we're not going to focus on these features just yet, because we need to start our project, and then later we do collaboration. So we're going to take a 5-minute break, but at this point, everybody should have a local file in their My Documents. Everybody should have a local central file, because this now will become the file that we're going to use to work on over the next 6 weeks, right? We're not using a regular Revit file. We're using a collaborative file, all right? So if you haven't gotten this step where you have the local file, I would say this needs to be a benchmark that you reach now in the class, because you're going to build on top of this. If you already have this file, let's take a break, drink some water.
So, I have a question.
Yeah.
I remember you were saying that when you save, it will pop up in your documents, right?
Mm-hmm. When you save, what happened?
I think you say when you save the file, it will pop up in your documents as a copy.
Yes. When you close after you create the central model and you close it, when you open it now as the user, it will create a copy. So it's after you close and open it again. You have to close it and open it again for it to do.
Okay, well, I will try it again, because I close it and open it, but it still doesn't pop up. But I'll do it again.
All right. Okay. All right. And you remember the steps that we said in order to do that? You need to open a project file from the server using the link that I gave you. Enable collaboration, and then save it back on the server and close it. Okay. All right. Is there anybody here that's not set up? Any connection problems? I remember some persons were having some connection problems. Anybody? Anybody that wasn't connecting to the server?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Hamilton. Right, I remember now. Tyrion. What you can do is you can catch the recording. I'm gonna try and edit the recording so that I only I have another video that only show the steps and not the bunch of repeating. So
okay, sir, thank you.
Who was it now? Yeah, Hamilton.
Yes, please.
Yeah, man, what is happening to you now when you try to connect?
It's telling me access denied for some reason.
All right. No, hold on. Did you check your username to make sure you're not using your UTech username?
Yes. I use student underscore 27.
Okay. All right. Let me check it. Hang on. Let me make sure that the folder, there are no issues. Folder. Let me check it on my end. For everybody else, we're taking a break. Let's take a little break. Let's come back here at 12:25. That's like about 7 or 10 minutes.
So remember, I have a problem with the thing in when I put
yeah man, we're going to solve that in the break. So no break. So no break for you.
All right, so
right. All right, Hamilton. Let me see what's happening with you now. All right. Hamilton.
It says it's not connected.
What was that? Oh, that wasn't for me.
Sorry, I wasn't here early in the class, but was it you that added names to groups in the mirror board, or we have to do that ourselves?
You do that yourselves.
Can you give me access to that? Because right now I only can.
Oh, right.
So when you close it out, you're going into Revit. You're going into the thing that you're sending to open back the file.
Right. The file that you just saved. Yeah.
Right. You're clicking it and you're pressing open.
And when you do it at that point, it will create a local copy. And that's the copy that you will use from here on out.
So I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but
not working for you.
It's not coming up in my documents at all.
Okay. Question. When you go in the window, it opens back, right?
All
right, cool. Close it and open it back from the server. Hamilton, I'm still looking on your thing. I don't think I don't think it's from my end.
Right. So let me try.
Let me see. Yeah, you say you paste it. Hold on, let me see what number you have. 27. Yeah. Yeah, everything is all right on my side. So there is definitely something. All right, so do me a favor. Log off and log back on and try it again.
All right, no problem.
Log out of Windows. But you know what? Let's reset the computer. Let's reset the computer.
All right, I will.
And try it. All right. Anybody else having connectivity issues?
Yes, sir. So in the server. So click the project.
Well, you have one Revit installed?
I have two.
Oh, which one?
24 and 25.
No, so if you double click it, it's going to open in 25. So you have to go and open Revit first. You have to open Revit first.
And then go into the server and open the file from inside there.
Right. You have to do it that way. Yeah.
Okay.
You have to paste the IP address I gave you, paste it in Revit, and yeah, that's the way you have to do it.
Okay, well, I do that and I'm going to open the file now.
Right. Wait. You open it already?
Yeah.
You're moving quick, man. Were you having the trouble with the local file?
The file that's supposed to pop up in your documents?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I wanted to check something. All right, hold on. You're opening the original file that I gave you. You're not opening the one that you saved yet.
Also open the original file.
Right, because you're opening the file that you turned into a collaborative file. That's what you're doing?
Yeah.
No, wait. All right, no problem. You can do that as well. All right. What I want you to do is just close the project and go to open it. But before you open it, just click on it. Don't open it. Just highlight it in the open dialog box. Right? And follow me. When you do that, let me do it. I'm doing it on my screen to mirror yours. Is this my own? No. Yeah, it's not my IP address. Right. When you do that on your end, I want you to just click on it. So in this case, I have this one that's called Major Project Central File. This is it. Do you see your work sharings activated? Meaning, is it grayed out or is it? You don't need to change anything. But is it gray?
The create new local.
It's grayed out?
Yeah.
That means that you didn't enable the collaborative feature.
So wait, hold on. So it's not the student, it's the major project. That is the one that I opened.
The one that you call central file.
Yeah.
Right.
That one.
So when you click on the central file one, the option to create local should become active by itself. You don't have to even click it. So are you seeing this happen for you?
It grayed out.
Right. So that means that the work sharing was not enabled in that file.
Oh.
So here what I want you to do. So open it same way. Open it same way. Right? Let's open it. The one that you call central file, right? And when it opens for you, what I want you to do is go to the Collaborate tab and click Collaborate.
Yeah.
Do you see Collaborate here?
Yeah.
And you see this option come up?
So but I do all of that already, and it's saying collaborate in cloud right now. And I remember you say if you choose the first one, then cloud will come up.
So right now you're seeing it's a collaborating cloud?
Yeah.
All right. Click save. Just click the save icon here. What's happening here? And just close that project. Let's close it now. All right. So then go back to open now and
So hold on, me take me loading.
all right.
Okay.
Right. It's still loaded?
No, I could go ahead now.
All right. So when you go to the one that's called central file, what are you seeing? You still don't see create local pop-up?
No, it's still green.
Hold on, is it unchecked and gray or is it checked and gray?
Unchecked and gray.
Hold on. All right, let's do it again. Let's do it again. I'm not sure why, because you enable it. So when you enable, why would it not come up? And you're sure, and it's the same file you enable it on. That don't make no sense. Let me do it again. So what I want you to do while you're in this window, just delete the central file. Let's press delete.
Okay.
And then delete this backup folder here for it.
Okay.
All right. So you should only be left with the student folder and I guess the recycle bin.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So you're gonna open the student one again. I know you do this already, but I don't know what ghost is haunting your Revit file. Right? I'm not sure. So we're gonna open the student project start again. All right.
Yeah.
Right. Head over to collaborate. And you go enable collaboration. And you go choose within network.
So why it's still saying collaborating cloud?
Oh, hold on. You signed into Autodesk?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why. Okay, click on collaborating cloud. Click on it. What it say? Did you get the option same way?
It asked me to save. You have to save the model before you can collaborate with others. Would you like to save the model?
All right. It must be the type. Okay, wait. Choose cancel. Click work sets. And you see this come up about you're about to enable work sharing.
No, it come up with a table.
Yeah, because it's why is your Revit in the cloud only? I wonder if anybody else who was signing to Autodesk was getting the same problem. Why can't you use it locally? What version
I
are
was able to use it locally. I didn't have that cloud problem.
say again?
I did not have that cloud problem, that issue. I was able to use it locally.
When?
So I followed all the steps and I was able. I'm fine, and I'm logged in with Autodesk.
Yeah, but you're not. It's not creating the local version, which means that that file that you have there now is not a collaborative file.
So mine is. It even made the backup thing. It did everything that you showed.
Oh, but it just don't have the create local option.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess I just
Wait,
I followed
where
what
is
you
that
did and
option?
I got everything.
Sir, what do you mean by create local option?
Whenever you create the collaborative file, this is when you have that is closed. Yeah, this is when you have done these steps and you save the file and then you go down to open it. So when you go to open it now as the user ready to work, it will create a local file in your My Documents. So that is what I'm talking about.
That's showing up for me, but
right.
I don't know if all right.
But who?
All right then.
Right.
Yes, so I have it in my documents. I don't have to type anything. It's right there. It has a folder and it has the Revit file out of a folder.
Oh, but a while ago you said it didn't have the option tick to create local.
No, I can say I followed everything you said, and it worked fine.
So then what was the problem?
So that Daniel speaking, not Rian. I'm telling
Oh,
you,
sorry,
I didn't have that issue. That's what I'm telling you.
See, that mixed me up. It's because I only listening to the voice and I'm not like seeing. Okay, all right, cool.
Yes, I was saying it should work because she was saying it wasn't working for her.
Right. And you have one that is signed into Autodesk.
Yes, sir, that's what I was saying.
Right. Yeah. I get you now. I get you. Because I'm not looking on the Zoom thing. I'm just listening. All right. So Ray, you there?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. So, where were we now? So we were about to redo it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you have the window up. Sorry, you click we were doing it when you click the work sets, you're saying you don't see this come up for you. You're about
no,
to
a table comes up.
The table come up. It's almost like you're at what version of Revit you're seeing at the top?
24.3.
0.3. I wonder if them changed something.
I don't think so because I was doing it too and I'm signed in with that same version.
Version.
I went through.
All right, tell me something then. When you click on the cloud and it said this model must be saved before you're using the cloud. That's what you're seeing, right?
Yeah. Save the model and continue. Don't save the model and cancel.
Right. Because it's not giving me that because I am not signed in. But you're have you used the feature? All right, here what you do. You sign in with your student ID?
Yes, sir.
No, but if you sign out, it not go allow you to use the program if you sign out. Anybody else having this thing? I wonder. It's not giving the option. If there's an option that is disabled.
Yes, Mr. Williams, am I turn now, sir?
Oh, sorry. Yes, give for it. What was your thing again? You weren't connecting?
Yeah. When I use the thing to locate the file, right? That is the 192 point something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to open the file there. So I'm going to open and paste that link and press enter. But it's saying that you do not have access rights to the IP address student 25. See administrator for access to this file.
Right. Hold on.
Yeah, man, take your time.
Yeah, everything is alright on my end. Did you reboot already?
You mean restart the computer?
Right, you sure? And you're not using your UTech ID, right? You're using the student ID that I give you.
Oh, is the I can't use my UTech ID.
No.
So I have to sign out?
Yeah, man. You have to No, only for that. It's not going to sign you out of Windows, you know. It's only for that, to access that folder. You're not using it. So when it pops up, there's an option down the bottom where you choose more choices.
Hold on, sir. I can share my screen, sir, so I can share what's
Hold on. Let me well, I was about to because other persons had a similar issue. Okay. And I'm about to paste it here. So if you get this, you get a dialog like this, right? And it's using your UTech ID. So what you need to do is you need to choose this option here. Sorry, this one that says more choices.
Where you see this?
Scroll down. Scroll down. Sometimes it's hidden.
Scroll down where? In Revit?
No, man. This is when you paste the code, the IP address that I give you, the 192.168 thing.
Where I must paste that? In Chrome?
In Run. So Run. Yes, so you go to in step 3, you hold Windows key, press R.
Oh.
Yeah, you need to do that. Okay. And then when you press enter, this dialog box will come up.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, man. And continue from there. Make sure you put in your thing. Put in the student IP thing. All right. Ray, you know, say it won't look like probably I forgot reinstall because I am not.
So I have to delete 2024 and reinstall it.
That's what I want because I'm not finding that issue in the Autodesk forums either. It's like I'm wondering if it's almost like your Revit is only giving you the option to do cloud. And I'm wondering.
I don't understand why that happening because
what you saying, Ray? Talk first.
So I don't understand why that's happening because I was able to choose in the beginning when we was doing it together. I was able.
Oh, you were able to choose local.
Yeah, but it just was not popping up the thing.
The local. All right. Here we go. I want you to restart because sometimes a restart will solve everything because some weirdness happening there. Just make everything go fresh and just do it again and see if you get. Because that's why it's not creating a local file. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's restart and there we go. All right. It is time to go through because I want us to be out of here before 2. Is that go again? To 2 o'clock? That's so. Yeah, but I'm gonna see if we can be out of here before 2. So I want to continue on what we're doing today now to actually work on the model. So everybody should have the model here. Now, if for any reason your Revit is not like this whole work sharing thing, it's not working, and you're not able to work from that that local file that it created that is linked to the server, just use a normal Revit, and then I will work with you one-on-one to solve the issue. All right, just so we can keep moving. All right. Okay. Because of course, what is important is, you need to have your model. You need to actually have the work, right? So we want to just move into the work now to at least start with the walls. So everybody should have this, and we are going to move into start. Okay, so by now. All right, so what should happen now is, where is this thing? Full screen, yeah. All right, so last time we did this solar study, right? And we would have had this object here. Now, what we're going to do, we're not going to use this massing that we created last time, because we only use that to demonstrate to you guys how you can do conceptual modeling in Revit. Because with the architectural process, we start from concept and then we go into the model. So if you're working on your design studio and you want to now create a mass, to explore all kind of things, you can use Revit to create the mass, and then later on you can turn the walls. You can turn the mass into like actual walls. That's what we did last time. So we're going to delete that, and we're actually going to start with the model. So everybody should be here. Of our BIM model. There are a couple guides that you might find here on the digital board. So for example, most 3D BIM models can be created by a simple 6-step process, right? The first thing you need to do is to set up your project. You need to have the name, the information, the location, and all these things set up. Things pertaining to the site, your true north, project north, all of those project things need to be set up. Next, you need to set up things to guide the model production. And when I say things to guide, typically that is your grids and your levels, but it could be other things. Suppose there are reference objects. For example, if there is a contextual object, maybe a neighboring building or some kind of contextual structure that helps to position your building. Anything that provides a guide to how your building will be modeled, that's what you want to put in first. Next, you want to try to focus on building your outer shell, pretty much your outer walls, major walls. You don't want to start putting in tiny elements like windows and doors at this early stage. You really want to get the shell or the basic footprint of your building laid out. And then you want to create your site. So even before you start add details to your building, it is a good point at this next step to start to create your terrain. You have things like walkways and pathways. Sometimes you have things that are based on the shape of the site. So all those things should be put in and lined up with the shell of your building. And then we will start to add details. So things like windows and doors and furniture and all of these things would be a good point to start adding them in after you ensure that your building shell is good to go and the site is good to go. Now, when all of these are done, then we can start to generate outputs from the BIM model. And notice I use the word generate because most of the things that you'll produce in are going to be generated from the model. You would generate floor plans, maybe sections, even renderings. You might extract details. All of these things are things that you want to be able to just generate from the building because you've invested the time in creating the building. Now, there are some other things to consider for each of these levels, but in a nutshell, those are the simple steps that we would take. Now, on this board also is some breakdowns as to what should be considered for each level. But as it is now, we're just going to jump in now to deal with pretty much step 2, which is to get the things that guide our models creation in place. Now, we're going to be needing to constantly take a look at our plan or our floor plans, because the first thing we want to create is the building model. Now, you might notice the first thing we want to be looking at is how the grids are laid out and the distances between these grids. So you can kind of see these distances here, and you can see these grid lines here. Here they are here. in these locations. Now, these grid lines, notice that you can also see them on different parts of the building. So for example, if you look on the upper floor, you will also see them there. And if you look on the site plan, you will see them as well. Now, the idea is whether you are designing a building from concept drawings, or you're simply creating a building from detailed drawings, which is what we're doing now, the first thing you want to do is identify your grids and your levels. So we see a couple grids here. We have some dimensions for it, and next we want to look at our levels. So let's take a look at the section view. We can see the section view here, and we can have an idea of where our ground level is and an idea of our upper level. Here is a detail section, so we can see the ground, we can see the upper level, and we can see other little details such as the footing and so forth. For right now, we just want to focus on the major levels of the building. So we can see from here that our ground floor here, then we have our upper floor here, and here is that measurement, and then we have our roof, which is here, and we want to just establish these levels and these grids as a primary way forward. All right, so with that said, now you can, for example, in order to have these side by side, you could, for example, also place these drawings in your Revit model. So for example, let's say that on our ground level, which is, we actually have some plans here. Here we go. So this would be our ground level. We can actually download this. So I'm going to hit the download here. And we can actually drag that into our model here. Now, what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to drag it into our level 1. So we're going to go on to level 1. We're going to ensure to switch to our project north, and then I will drag this drawing in here. Now, once the drawing is here, we can now scale this drawing. So let's scale it. So I'm just gonna kind of estimate the rough size, which is about that, and then I'm gonna use a reference line. So in this case, I'm gonna use a model line. So I'm gonna go to annotate, and I'll grab not a model line, but a detail line. And I'm going to look for a large measurement that I can use to scale this drawing. So the best measurement I see here, let's use one of these grid lines here. All right, so here is one. So we could actually use this measurement. So what I'll do is I'll draw a line from here, and the idea is that from this point here to this point here should be 8,696 millimeters. So 8,696. I believe we're in meters, so it should be 8 point, or actually I can just put millimeters at the end. All right, there we go. So what this is telling me is that this line from here to here really needs to be reduced to this point, which is here, right? So I can use that to actually scale this drawing. So I'm going to make sure I click on the drawing. Then I'm going to go to my scale. And I'm going to grab this point here. Then when I can estimate this point here, like that, and I grab that, and then I'm going to reduce it to this point here. All right, there we go. So now it should be scaled, and I can actually test that by using my dimension tool, which is up here. And I can just use the tab key to go from there to there. And you can see that, well, this kind of rounds it up. What I can do is I can I can go to manage and go to units, and I can actually switch my units from meters to millimeters. And I don't need that at 2 decimal places. Maybe just 1 decimal place is fine, or actually none is good enough. All right, there we go. So I can see here that my actual length is about the same as this. Now, important point to note here. What we'll be doing is translating these measurements and not tracing them. So for example, even though I have this dimensioned scale, if I, for example, try to measure something else. So for example, I could draw a line from, so I'm going to draw a line using here, and you don't need to follow with this. This is just an example here. If I draw a line from here all the way to this point here, it should be equal to 18,346 millimeters, right? So if I take a dimension line here, let me just pull that up. You can see that it's actually measuring 18,400, even though I traced, well, as best as my eye could recognize between these two lines. Now, this is why it's very important that we don't trace, because clearly you can see that this is different from that. Now, in order to get the exact accurate measurements, you will be needing to actually input these values directly into your drawing rather than what I would call eyeballing it, rather than tracing these lines, because these lines will actually not get you the correct measurements. As you can clearly see here, I traced the lines and it's kind of close but not close enough. Now what's going to happen if you trace the lines, when we get to doing things like the stairs, which you can see here, and we start to deal with things like radius, these radius are going to be way off, because a lot of these lines, a lot of these dimensions, the inaccuracy of them will add up over time. And as you build upon inaccurate data, the resultant data will be even more inaccurate. So what is actually recommended, and in order for you to get the maximum marks for accuracy, is to input these values, but you can use the scale drawing as a kind of visual guide, not to actually trace and draw your drawings. Right, guys? So, I mean, when I'm marking your drawing, one of the main things I will check for is like your grid lines, because your grid lines pretty much represent how accurate your model is, right? A grid line is something that is shown on every level of your building. A level is something that determines your level throughout your building. So those I expect to be accurate. And of course, if you trace the drawing, then it's not going to be the exact thing. All right, you understand what I'm saying, Karum? Jerome there?
Good question, sir. Can't I scale that specific drawing, trace it,
Yeah.
and scale again?
That's what I'm saying. You
Oh,
can scale it, but when you are creating this BIM model, don't trace it. Input the values manually. So for example, the dimension for the grid, that example that I just showed you, don't trace it from the drawings to draw your grid. Type in the distances from the grid, especially your grid, because a lot of things depends on your grid. So if your grid is off by a little bit, and for example, when we're constructing the stairs in the next couple of weeks, and you're wondering, but why the stairs not reaching the top of the because the grid is off by a couple millimeters, but then that adds up over time.
Sir, I have a question. If you're hearing me clear.
Yeah, man.
So what if you draw one of the lines first, like draw one of the measurements, and then scale the drawing according to that?
No, but that's what I did. But
Oh,
remember, no, because remember, this is if you look on this here, like this you see my screen? Yes, my screen is shared. Right. So for example, if by the way, to access these files, you can use the mirror board, or if you look on the website, where am I? Here, right here. Come on. Come on. Okay, let me open in a new window. Right. You can access the files here on the supporting files, and you see drawings. You just go in the drawing files, and these are they. So for example, if let me download this. And drag it into Revit. So here I have the file in Revit. Now, come on. I'm just trying to make this a little bigger for you guys so that you can see. There we go. Right, so remember that these are not vector. So for example, the distance between this point and this point here, sure, I can go ahead and use a line and I can eyeball this to here. But then when you zoom all the way in, like this is what the line is. It's a bunch of squares. So there's no way, there's nothing to snap to. It's not a vector. So it don't matter how close you eyeball it, it's not going to be exact, especially when we're talking about millimeter. It's not going to be the exact. It's going to be off by some amount. So that's why I'm saying don't try and trace it from the drawing. If you see that this is 5537, then whenever you're drawing your grids, and like you're drawing a grid like that, and like that, actually put in the value 5537 and use the actual inputted value. Then you can always, like match this with this for just the purpose of checking, but don't use it for the purpose of drawing. Right? I don't know if you've ever seen those construction drawings and you see a big sign on it, do not use as a scale reference. It means that the person who is on the site building, they shouldn't take a ruler and measure on the drawing and then do the calculation in their head. They should use the actual value that is there. Because sometimes in a drawing, they might edit this value just for the purpose of ease of reading. You understand what I'm saying? Guys?
Yes, sir. We understand.
Right. So you're going to type in those values. All right, let's continue. So our height. So if we look at our drawing here, which this section is really a design drawing section compared to this section here, which is really a construction drawing section. It has more details and all of that stuff, whereas this one is more of a presentation. However, the heights remain the same nevertheless. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these heights to determine the level of my building. All right. So now that we have that done, what I will do is, in my case, is even though I have this drawing here, I am going to actually use the board to measure to put in the measurements for my drawings. So on this side I'll have my drawing, and over here I will have my dimensions. Now some of you might prefer to actually have your drawing on the board. I find it a little bit slow in terms of workflow, because I will be having to look here and then pan over here and then go back over here, which can be very the other option is if you choose to put your drawing below, and even though you might not trace, but you still want to have your drawing as a guide below the lines. I find that the drawing gets the lines confused because all of these black lines kind of confuse the drawing line. So, you know, everybody has their own way of producing drawings, but in this case where we're going to be pretty much digitizing this drawing, I find that a side-by-side approach with an occasional check-in of a scale drawing is the best solution. As I can quickly kind of hop between drawings to find measurements. So that's another recommendation. All right, now to get things started, let us look at the levels we currently have. Now, a good way to look at our levels you can't see levels from a top view. So the best way to look at your levels is either in 3D view if you have Revit 2019 and up, or you can look in an elevation view. So if I choose any elevation view at random, you will see that I have my levels here. Now, instead of dragging my drawing into this view here, what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to look at what we have here for my section, and so I see here where my level 0, between my level 0 and my upper floor is 4,700. So I'm actually going to put this at 4,700 by just clicking, editing that, and then I actually need to create another view that will represent I labeled it the roof, parapet, wall top here. Now to create another level, what you want to do is head over to the architecture tab, which you find here, and then you will see the level symbol, which is here. Now your level symbol might look a little different depending on how wide your Revit drawing file is. So for example, you might notice that if I widen my Revit here, you will now see my drawing, my level symbol like that, and it's much bigger. So keep a note on that. All right, it depends on the size of your Revit drawing. Okay, so now because I'm going for a side-by-side approach, I'm going to be having my Revit back like this, and I'll have my drawings here. All right, so I'm going to create another level by pressing the create level, which is under architecture here, and I'm going to create that level. I see it here at 9,500, which really measures from the ground floor up. So I'm going to just randomly place my level here, and now notice when I just place my level here, a couple things happened. Let me press escape. Now you will notice that you got a new level 3, which corresponds to the level 3 here. You also got a new level 3 ceiling plans as well, and also notice that the color of the level symbol here is blue. Right now, all these points are important. Now, automatically, when you create a level like this, it will create new views. Now, in some cases, for example, in this case, though I created a level called level 3, I don't necessarily want to have a floor plan level called level 3. It'd be really, I'm just going to have my ground floor, which is level 1, and my upper floor, which is level 2. Now, if I have a level 3, that will pretty much be a roof plan. But I have my site plan, which is already looking at the roof of my building. So there is really no need for me to create a level 3. Now, you can create a level 3 if you want. It's not going to affect anything with your drawing. But just a point to note that every time you create a new level, it will create a new drawing. And in some cases, that might be a bad thing. In the case of the roof plan, it may not be a particularly bad thing, but for example, let's say that I was going to have a kind of a middle level, like for maybe a stage or some intermediate floor. So maybe in my drawing, let's say that there is a ramp, and my ramp kind of went up, and I had another level here. So ideally, in Revit, I would want to create another level to represent that new level. However, notice that if I had created a new level here, like this, it will be called level floor 4 automatically. Now, the thing about that is, it's great that I have a level here, but then it also created a level floor here. Now, in this case, it's a bad thing because I don't need a new level, because my level 1 is my floor plan. So in creating a new level, I'm essentially creating the same floor plan over again, because they're essentially going to show the same thing. In addition to that, it's also creating a ceiling plan for that level as well. And as you know, a ceiling plan is where if you're a person here, then you're looking up at the ceiling, and that's a new plan. Now, of course, there's no reason to generate a ceiling plan under my ground upper slab here. It's pointless. I really just need a ceiling plan here, which would be for my level 2, and maybe a ceiling plan would be for my level 3 if I so choose, right? So in this particular example, a level floor plan, which is here, is a bad thing. So I'm raising this point to say that not every time you want to be creating a corresponding level with an actual level in the drawing. In some cases, you just need a level so that you can use as a reference point and no plan generated with that level. Now, in the case of my upper floor, it is not so bad because I may need a plan that looks down like this, which would be attached to this level here, and I may need a ceiling plan that looks up like this, which would be attached to this level here. So that's kind of okay, but definitely if I was creating an intermediate level, I would not need another floor plan and another ceiling plan, which is a bad thing. So that's just reiterating that point. So I'm going to just undo that, as I was just doing this just to illustrate the point of levels that are created here. Now, as I create this level, I'm going to align it properly. So I'm going to just drag it across here. You notice you get this little dash line that pops up, and this tells you that it's now in line with the other levels. And notice you get a little lock here, which means that now when you try to move one, all three of these will move in tandem. Now I also want to carry the other side of this level all the way to the end over here. It doesn't necessarily matter at this point in the drawing. It might change a little bit, but that's okay. And notice that I drag it till it's locked there, so now these are both locked. This little checkbox here that is here really just represents if you want to have another level symbol at the end or not. Now additionally, you might also notice that you see a little 3D icon here, and what this is simply saying is when this icon is on and you manipulate this line, you will see this line change or be visible in other views. So for example, if I'm in the east view and I change the length of this level line, then if it's, I can maybe view it in the west view in the background because the 3D option is on. But if it is changed to 2D, then it will only be visible in that view. This may come up later when we start to generate views, so for right now we don't really have to worry about it that much. All right, now one thing that we do have to worry about, if you have been following along and you have created another third level here, then you might want to set this to 9,500. But before we go any further, I want to highlight something that you may notice. Now, if you go over to your 3D view, which is located there, then in that 3D view, if you did your solar study before, you would see the solar study still be represented there. We can actually remove this for the time being. So I'm going to turn it off by going here and turn off the sun path. Now, I want you to notice something. So we know that this green line here is our site that we traced over as a model line, so we can see it in the 3D view. But I want to point your attention to this level here, and then this level here, and then we created this level, which is here. So that is going to be interesting, and if you are following along, then you might end up with this same effect. So if I kind of zoom out here, you may wonder, why is that third level that we created so out of whack with that body that that has their level that's kind of off like this? Anybody? Guys?
Mine's fine.
Okay, well, that's fine. If you're wondering why is that, if you remember last time when we were doing the True North and Project North, if you think about the I can find it. Where is it? Right. Oh no. Here. Yeah, there we go. So remember, in our project originally, we had where you can have True North or Project North. The True North is the actual direction of north in the real world. And Project North is us rotating the entire project so that it's easier to draw. So if you draw those lines while you were in True North, then they will be lean. We can correct them easily. So if that happens to you, you can ignore it because that's the only reason why it's lean, because it depends on what direction we were in when we were in True North or Project North. But also there is some interesting things that we also have to learn as well. So for example, when it relates to elevations, I want to show you this. Now this is the reason why you see in your 3D view, which we looked at earlier, why this level line is actually off. Now to demonstrate this, I'm going to show you a good example. If I should go to my wall tool, all right, and you don't have to follow me here, but just bear with me a little bit. If I go to my wall tool and I should maybe just draw roughly, you know, the shape, basic shape of the building here. This is just a random shape here, right? So let's say that this was a building here, and on this wall tool I'm going to select all of these walls here, all right? And in my properties, which is located over here, I'm going to set up my base level for the wall, and I'm going to set up my top constraints. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my base level to level 1, and I'm going to set my top constraint to level 3. So that means, right, so now we did this from last semester when we were setting up the 3D model, and we kind of have an idea of how levels work. So for example, you set a base constraint and a top constraint, right? And then you can set that based on the level. So this is not supposed to be news to most persons here, because that's how levels work. Now in terms of the elevations, now what you find is that the directions of your elevations is not going to be aligned with the walls. So we might have to actually rotate these views. In some cases it's fine, like here, but in other cases you're only going to be seeing the corner of the building. Now when we get into the drawings, we're going to actually move these so that they are straight, right? So that now the elevation, so we're going to end up setting up these elevations, and just like in the real world, you might end up with elevations that are not perpendicular, right? All right, so and then so we can actually click on these elevations and we can rotate them, and then that is how we get the elevations to line up with the actual view. You just rotate them like you would any other object, right? Which I know we know what to do already, right? You just click on it and click the rotate tool, and then that way now you can have the elevations in line with the view, which is what you see me doing there. So now the elevations are in alignment there. And as I said, just like any normal view, that is where you would see there. So I think in the model that you have, they are aligned for you, but then you need to align a third elevation to this facade that is here. All right. All right. So now we are going to go into finishing up drawing the outline of our building. Okay, we'll change that later. There we go. All right, we'll leave that on for now. So we'll leave it on 2D for now. Doesn't really matter. Remember, that only affects how the line looks in another view. Let's try and just drag this over to here. There we go. Right. All right. So these 3D options that you see here, when you're adjusting your levels simply means that when you go into another view, so for example, you go into east elevation and west elevation, you will see that how you say it now, almost like, think of it like a box, like a three-dimensional box. So when you adjust the length of the levels in one dimension, it will adjust in the other dimension. But if you leave it on 2D, when you make the levels, for example, closer to the building in one view, it will only remain close in that view. And when you change it to the other view, they're all independent. So everybody should basically have a rough shape of their building that is now aligned to the different levels, right? And that is where we begin. All right, so what we're going to do now is in order to, so the first thing we want to do is to draw the grids. So I want you guys to look on the drawings for where the grids are and start to map out the distances for the grids. And remember, this that you have is your site, right? This is not the actual building. This is just the legal boundaries of the site. So if you look on the grid lines, for example, you will see that the first grid line A is 2735 millimeters from the edge here. So I want you guys to start with your grid lines. Don't start with the wall. Your drawing should be blank like this. Those walls that I was putting in is just to show you guys so that you understand how levels work and how your elevations work. We kind of went through that pretty quickly because I think you guys understood this from 3D modeling. Am I right, guys? Right, guys? All right. So let us start with the grids. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, I have to leave now because I have a next class at 2.
Oh, so you hold on, 2?
Well, most of the other students here.
Yeah.
They don't have that class.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, we did use a bit of time to go through the setup, the network setup, but we have we have about 15 minutes worth of just getting you started so you can watch it in the recording. All right.
So this can be available.
Yeah, man, it will be available after today, especially
the whole recording here or the one that you played.
No, both of them. The combination of the two.
Okay, all right. Bless, sir. Bless.
Cool. Our boundary lines from the coordinates, which would have been from the surveyor. So that will ensure that we are 100% accurate. Now, what we want to do is establish our building location based on the boundary line. So this drawing here begins to set that up. Now, we can see how we're going to put these grids on, and we can see the distances between them. So what we're going to do now is to go to grids. Now our grids are located here. Again, my icon is a little squashed because my Revit screen is a little bit smaller than your Revit screen might be. So actually I'm going to just kind of drag this over somewhere so I can get a little more space in Revit. And well, I guess that's as small as my board will go. All right, so we're going to use the grid tool here, and to set this up, we're going to start by drawing our first grid, right? So we're going to start here and I'm going to kind of go down like this. There we go. Now right away, I'm just kind of estimating this distance because I can always adjust it later on. Notice that in our grid lines here, on one axis we use A, B, C, D, E, and on another axis we use 1, 2, 3, 4. So for example, if we're referring to this column, we can say the column at grid 3A or A3. and it will help us to identify things on the drawing. Kind of similar, think about using Excel. Most of us use Excel, and that's how we find where the location of a cell is. So we want to be doing that same thing. Now also the other important point to notice is that this drawing is also rotated. So this, because it's a site plan, it is actually at true north. So if I change my drawing to true north, it will look like this. So as a matter of fact, I realized that this grid should actually be here. So let's actually just rotate that. I'll use my rotate tool here, and I will just rotate that at 90 degrees like that. Right, there we go. So what I'm actually putting in now is this grid line here, which would correspond to this grid line here. Right, so I just switched to the same rotation just to make sure that I'm not making any mistakes, which was very helpful because it helped me to align the drawing to the sheets that I'm using for dimensions. All right, great. So now we have that. All we need to do now is to establish the measurements, which we see here. So we can start to establish that measurement, which is basically going to be that measurement there. All right. So now notice in Revit, whenever you click on an object, it usually shows you the distances that is closest to the nearest elements beside that object that you have selected, right? So you can see that it showed me a temporary dimension here, and it's called a temporary dimension because if I deselect, that dimension goes away, which you can see there. If I click it again, it comes back. Now these temporary dimensions are really great because they have this little icon which is here, and they allow you to turn your temporary dimensions into an actual dimension. So what I'm going to do is, while I have this grid line selected, I'm going to insert the measurement here, which is by just clicking on this temporary dimension here, and I can just type it in, which is 4,735. There we go. So now I know that that's exactly that. Now I can just click on this icon here and turn it into a real dimension. So therefore, when I click off of it, that dimension still remains, which is great. Now, don't worry too much about the size of the dimension because we're not going to be setting up our scaling until further down. All right. And if you look back at our process here, and you can kind of look at this detailed process here, this gives you a good idea as to when to approach certain points in the drawing, so you can always take a look at that as well. Now, okay, let's go back to this drawing that we're going to be using, which is actually this drawing here. No, that's this drawing here, right? Funny enough, this drawing is really the upper floor, but doesn't matter at this point because what we're really getting are the grids. All right, now that the grids are in, what I want to do now is I want to actually label these grids. So when you click on the grids, you're going to click on this little element here, and I'm going to change that to A. There we go. Now I'm going to copy this grid, and of course I can see clearly that when you copy it, what the dimension should be. So I'm going to click on that grid here, and I'm going to use the copy tool, which is here, and I'm just going to copy this down, and it's going to be 5537. There we go. And it automatically named the next grid B. I'm going to delete this dimension here, and what I can actually do is when I click, I can actually use my dimension tool up top, and I can put in my own dimension. So I click here, then click here, then click here, and you can see that I have my dimensions there, and these dimensions coincide with the dimensions here. All right, So again, notice that when I put these dimensions in, I'm actually typing them in. I'm not tracing them. And if I did try to trace it, highly likely I would not get the exact dimensions down to the millimeter. So this is important whenever you're reproducing drawings. All right. In this case, we're reproducing because we are not creating the drawings from scratch. Okay, now we're going to continue to add in some more of these grid lines and reference elements. So I'm going to just go ahead and put these in quickly. So the next one we have, so we have another dimension here. So I'm going to use a shortcut for copy, which is CO. I'm going to copy that down there, and that one should be the same. The next one is going to be 8,698. So I'm going to click that here. And 8,698. All right, there we go. And sometimes I love to like leave my dimensions there so I can kind of track to see how accurate I'm drawing these lines. All right, good stuff. Okay, so now to put in these other dimensions now. Okay. Now this dimension here, which you can see here, is 8,100 from the boundary line. So I'm going to put in that dimension now. So we're going to click on grid lines, and I'm going to just add the scene. Now notice I just kind of drop it in as long as it's parallel, and then I worry about changing the dimension lines. Now this dimension is counting 1 2 3 4, so I'm going to change this to 1, and I'm going to turn on dimensions, turn on the symbol at the end here, so that is 1. All right, so that one is 8,100 from the boundary line. So when I click here, I want to change this to 8,100 like that. And I know the distances between them. I may have to look at another drawing here, or I could even. So guys, when you are, this is why I like to use the mirror board when I'm doing the drawings, because you might be looking for a dimension that is not on a particular drawing, but it's on another one. If you're browsing the drawings by files, you're gonna have to be skipping between files, which is a little annoying. So what I recommend you do is use up the mirror board, because on the mirror board, you can have all of them beside each other, right? Where you can move stuff around, right? There's actually a nice little app that I also use for that called QRF. That artists use that a lot when they want to have a reference image on screen while they build something in Photoshop. But you guys can use it in Revit too. I will carry it for your next class. But what I'm saying is that you want to have all of your drawings in a space, so that when you're trying to find a particular dimension and you say, but dimension is not here, but it's in another drawing, you just pan across to the next drawing. All right? Odin, you following what I'm saying? Are you here, Odin? Or Odin? No? Yes? Mia, how you doing? You understand that idea that I just mentioned?
Sir?
Do you understand the idea I just mentioned about having all the drawings on one surface that you can find the dimension that you're looking for?
Kind of.
Right, so remember, the drawings are available on the class website, right? If you go to the class website, underneath the handout, you see supporting files, and here they are. Here are the drawings. But rather than having to look on a drawing and then look on another one, try and put them in one space where you can pan and zoom and look on all of them at once, which is what you see me doing here. On one side, I have the mirror board, and I'm using the mirror board to find the dimensions that I need, and then I type it in Revit. If I can't find a particular dimension, I can just pan over to the next drawing, and so forth and so forth. All right? You following? All right. You got that, Mia?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So that advice goes for everybody as well. All right, so let's continue. Of the building. Now, when we're putting in we start to put in our walls, we also want to notice the thickness of the walls. Now, some of these drawings have the thickness labeled on them. You will kind of have to search for those dimensions. So let's look at one of these here that has the walls labeled. So in these drawings, you can see that some of them, so for example, here you go. So you can see where this is a 300 millimeter wall that is there. Here we go. So we can see here that most of the walls are actually 200 millimeters. That's right there. So when we start to now put in these major external walls, we can start to consider these things. Now, of course, the other thing to consider is that this drawing is really the upper floor of the building, and this is really the ground floor. So as you can see, most of the ground floor has really 200 millimeter walls that is there. So back to our drawing now. You can kind of see where we have pretty much our drawing coming together. Pretty much the drawing would fall on these grids, and then this section here we will add in at a later time. It should look something like that. All right, so we do have our grids that will guide us to that endeavor. Okay, now before we start to put in our walls, so if we head over to the architecture tab here, and then we'll see the wall tool that is there. Now right away when we click walls, notice that we see here we have a 8-inch generic wall. So here is a bit of a trick with this system. Now, if you remember, we spoke about this last class when we talk about different units. So the file that you're using now, it is in metric, but you're going to find that some of the families that are used are going to be in imperial. So for example, you're going to see like an 8-inch wall, which is about 200 millimeters. It's actually 203 millimeters to be exact, right? So you will have to kind of just do that conversion in your head. You are drawing a metric drawing, but remember last week we spoke about the fact that some drawings, some things that you estimate are in a metric way. Are in an imperial way, even though when you draw it, it is in metric. So remember when we were talking about the 2x4, and when we're talking about lumber, we normally use imperial. So in this particular drawing, you'll find that a lot of the things like the wall thicknesses and lumber and all of that stuff is in imperial. But when you put it in your drawing, you will see the metric version of that. All right, guys? You guys following? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We're following.
All right. Good. Need to now add in this outer wall, which is here. All right. So that wall, which is here, and we can see that it is that distance away from grid line 2. So what I'm going to do, you might draw this different ways. I like to copy my walls and just drop them in the general location and then try and tie my dimensions together. So I use temporary dimensions a lot. So this is my wall 1 here with this is my grid line 1 here, and it should be 2 4 3 1. There we go. So and notice that when I'm drawing my walls, they're like intersecting all over the place. It doesn't matter. I'm going to clean that up as we go along. So this wall that I have here is really that wall there that I'm putting in. Right. So what I'm saying, guys, is that we might go about it different ways. Like some persons will maybe put in all their walls on the upper floor first, the lower floor. It's up to you. I like to just put in reference walls and then I clean it up afterwards. There is no like specific way that you use to draw. There are ways that you can draw to speed up your workflow though. That comes over time, right? But the main thing is to try and follow, pan around to the different drawings so that you can follow what each one is saying. All right. You're definitely going to have to look around to see, look around on the drawings to find the different areas. So for example, when it comes to the columns, I would try to get in the main columns as quickly as possible. So to get that column in, what we'd do is head over to our architecture tab, and we would go over to columns, and we would actually use we just click the columns icon there, right? And let's go back, architecture, and we'll use architectural column. There we go. Now of course it's gonna show this in Imperial, but what we're going to do is we're actually going to go to edit type. We're going to duplicate this column and create our own version. So we're going to call this 800 millimeters by 400 millimeters. Right. Concrete column. There we go. So we have created our own family, and we actually need to make it 800 by 600. So we're going to change the width. So we're going to have 800. Well, let's have it at 400 and the depth at 800. There we go. And we're going to choose OK. All right, and that is now our column. I'm just clicking to place it, and then I can always move it into place. Now pretty much I can just align these columns based on the drawing that we see here. Here we go. So remember, this is the lower floor, so I can see clearly that 3 and B has a column, so that would be 3 and B here. Right. So now it's all about placing the columns. Now notice that I am not trying to finish the entire building. I'm trying to place some of the elements that are, I would say, structural and things that travel between floors. So like the columns and grids you will see on every floor. So I would suggest that you place those first so that you can use them as a kind of reference, right? So this drawing is deliberately a little tricky. Even this area that I'm highlighting here, on the upper floor, there's an overhang, and you really have to search through the drawings to understand it. And it's deliberately kind of like that. Because if you look here on the mirror board, you will notice that not here. That's about this side here. There's an overhang that's here, and then there's a stairs that comes out and goes up. As I said, this drawing isn't very big, but it is a little tricky. This level is slightly higher than that level, and the reason that it is so is that by the time you finish creating this in a BIM model, you will have, I think, reach a level of being able to produce anything in Revit. This is your proving ground, guys, right? It's your rite of passage to say that you can do BIM modeling, right? So you're going to have to search around on the drawing. If you want to find how high is that level off the ground, you might have to use this plan. But then if you want to find the distance of a column to the grid, maybe you have to use another plan. So search around. All the information is there. There is nothing that you have to trace, guys. All the dimensions and everything is there. So pretty much at the end of the day, at the end of this target point, you should at least have your walls for the ground and upper floor, and at least the columns. All right. This is, I think, is pretty straightforward for you guys to accomplish. All right, guys. Now, as I was saying earlier, as it relates to the collaborative, to set up your project, for those of us that are still having trouble with setting up the project, there are two things. Firstly, I can move your project. We can change the project from a individual to a collaborative model. We can do that during the process. It's better to do it at the beginning, like what we did in class, but we can do it during the process. So if for any reason there is some technical difficulty with you achieving it, we can do it at another time. The more important thing is I need you guys to start. So you need to have the file that we gave out today, and you need to start. Because remember our target points. There we go. We want to have all our levels, grids, and the basic structural elements in. This is going to be our second target. And the date that is set for that is going to be here, which is going to be the why doesn't this show the date? I think the date is actually below here. The 23rd, right? So that is going to be on the 23rd, which is pretty much like 3 weeks from now. I know you have the study tour that's coming up, so please try and fit in anytime you can to work on the model. Now remember, once you create the local file, remember we were speaking about this. Once you create the local file, you just need to save. Let me delete this. I'm going to put all of these notes here that we spoke about today. Yeah. Once you create the local file, you can save and work like normal. This is what we're used to doing. We just work and we save the file on our computer. occasionally you need to sync. Now to sync, all you need to do is to click the sync button. Now notice that this is the save button here. This is the sync button here. This is important. Everybody see that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Saving, hold on. Right. Saving will save the model to our computer. Syncing means you are sending all your changes to the server. You don't need to sync every time you save, because syncing will maybe take a while depending on the speed of your connection and that kind of stuff. But you need to sync incrementally. So for example, let's say that you're working for a couple of hours and you're saving, you're going to get up, get something to drink, go on the road, you sync, right? This also gives you a backup as well of the file. If anything should happen to your file, it is on the server and it is also on your computer. All right, guys. So occasionally I want you to hit the sync button. You'll see a message come up and then you just click save. Let me show you what that looks like. All right. So I'm going to open the file from my computer. So remember, it created a version in my documents, which is here. So I can just open it like normal and work, no problem. And let's say that I'm here working, let me delete that roof. And I don't know, like I'm here drawing and doing some stuff. I'm working maybe for about 5 hours or something, or an hour. And I click save. My file is saved locally. Now, if I click sync, notice my sync icon is active. If your sync icon is not active, that means you don't have a collaborative model. Now, if you don't have internet on your computer and you click sync, you're going to get an error. Naturally, because you have to have internet to connect to the server. All right. Additionally, you want to ensure that, where am I? Right. Ensure that you are running 0 tier. If 0 tier isn't running, then you're not connecting to the server. All right. Now, what you can do is click this option here. And what that will do is let 0 tier start up every time the computer starts up. So that will ensure that so you don't have to start it up every time. 0 tier has to be on, and you have to have internet to connect to the server. Everybody got that, guys? Everybody got? All right. So remember those two things. You don't have to go through all of the stuff we went through today. You just need to do it once, and then you can just continue working on that file that is in your My Documents. And occasionally you can sync, and occasionally you can save. When you click sync, you will see this dialog box come up, and it's basically just confirming what it's about to do. And you just click OK. When you click that, it might take a little while for you. For me, it's quick because I guess I'm closer to the server than you guys. But for you guys, when you click sync, it might take longer than when you click save. It depends on your internet connection. Now, if anybody has any trouble with connecting to the server or anything like that, please reach out to me in the Zoom chat. This is the one that runs not when you're in the meeting, but when you are outside the meeting. That's like our little WhatsApp. I know some persons weren't able to connect, so I want you to go on working, and then you try and connect. You can either talk to me on Zoom, or we can tackle it next class. A quick reminder, next week is going to be our class discussion. If there is no study tour. If there is study tour, then it will be after. Have a good trip if it's study tour. All right, guys?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not in the group, the Zoom chat.
Oh right. Did you get an invitation when we sent it out? All right, no problem. Okay, before you guys go, and before I look on that Zoom chat thing, I need to confirm the amount of seats I have available. So what I want you to do, because I think there are some persons that may have registered on more than one devices. This code that is right here, your address, I need you to send me this because I have like 35 seats that are used, but I only have like 20 odd people in the class. So that means some people have more than one seats. Now I need to make sure that I'm being efficient with the seats because the seats cost money, guys, right? The seats cost money. So everybody needs to have one seat. So one seat is basically your computer. Your computer is on our CSA computing network. And that is where you get this code. So I'm seeing more seats than people. So everybody that is here, before you leave class, can you copy this? I think you can copy this. Yeah. If you click on the 0 tier icon and you click on this, it will copy to your board. And then you just send this link to me so that I can associate this link to your name.
All right, so guys? I just send my address in the Zoom chat.
Good. So I want everybody to send their address. All right. Remember that it's the presentation next week again. So use this week to do your stuff.
Sir, you can check your chat, please.
Yeah, man. I have it.
I sent over my address here.
Yes, I see it. Carol.
All right, sure.
All right, and I see Dominic. So send me your address and you are free to go, guys. So good luck. I'll see you again next class. All right.
I'm having some problems.
Yeah.
So because I do it over and it's still in work, but also the checkpoint from Sunday, I didn't get to finish it because I was waiting to come to ask something because something not working on my thing. So I don't know. I don't know.
Boy. I'm wondering if might be something with the Revit, you know. Because you're still only getting the cloud option.
Yeah.
You might have to reinstall. You can still send me the
where I reach?
The solar study. Yeah.
So because I almost finished it, you know, but the part where you're loading the mass onto the site, it loading, but it not showing up. So I don't know what's going on. I try to figure it out.
It's the same thing for me too.
Oh yes. Yep. You have to remember that the mass does not exist. It does not exist. It's not an object that you can print or see. It's like a ghost. So you have to enable. So let me show you. Let me go back to that class. All right. Yeah, let's try this one. Right. So what you have to remember is levels, lines. Right, so it's blank. If you go to massing and site and you say show mass, then you see it. Now, the reason why this is off by default is because when you create something in conceptual mass, it's not a real object, meaning it's not meant for the object to exist in your model. It's just used as a kind of trace reference, just as a reference object. So you have to, it's like tracing paper. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So this is where you go to see it or not see it. Right? So
not even they are talking about like when you have the picture in the Revit file, and you're going to load the mass into the Revit file.
Right. So okay, let me. All right. So let me delete it here. So this is your mass that you're working on now, right? So let's say you finish this now and you want to load it into your Revit file. Right? You would need to click this button here, load into project. So remember, the mass editing file is a separate file. It's like, remember, the mass editing is a RFA file and your Revit project is a RVT file. So they are two completely separate things. So when you model your mass, you put it into your project. So let's say that I'm modeling this now and I finish modeling it. I need to click load into project. Or I can choose load into project and close, doesn't matter. When I choose load into project, this comes up because this shows me that, hey, I have two projects open. Do you want me to load it into this one that says major project, or do you want to load it into this one? And I say, I want to load it into that one because this is the one we were working on today. And I choose okay. And I'm going to overwrite it because I had it in there already. So for you wouldn't have had it in there, right? So then it's loaded into the project and it's now loaded. Now I'm not seeing it now because I have to go to massing and site and I have to, hold on, is it this? Which one did I load it in? Let me close this. I have this, let me close this. Right, so I have the project here and I have the massing file here. Load into project. Let me see. Oh, I know why. Because okay, it's because I deleted it. That's why. Okay. I can't show you the example that because I just hit delete here. Because it's already in the project already. That is the problem. So anyway, but this is what you would do. You would go to load into project and it's asking me to replace because I had it before, and then you load it in. Now, if you're not seeing it, it does mean that when you go to massing and site, you have had to turn it on. So did you do that and it didn't work?
So, well, now to no massing on sites, and I'm still not seeing it.
And you choose load into project?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let me see something. All right, do me a favor. Look in your. Are you in Revit now?
Yes, sir.
Look, and you say you turn on massing and site and you don't see it. And even when you turn on hidden objects, well, if you turn on
Yeah,
hidden objects,
exactly.
you all right. Go down into your this is below views. So when you have all of your views here, so just minimize that. So go down further till you reach families. Expand families. So families is a list of every family that you have currently in the project. So massing, conceptual mass editing is a type of family. So scroll down to where you get to M. It's in alphabetical order. Scroll down to where you see mass. Are you seeing?
Yes, sir.
You see it in there? You see it loaded?
Yeah.
Right. So what this means is that it was loaded into the project, but you never put it in the model. Or I don't know, maybe you press escape or something while it was loading. Because when you load it, it's supposed to give me the option to place it. But maybe during that time, you might have pressed escape or something, and it was loaded in the project, but it wasn't placed in the viewport. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So what you can do is just click on this, the sub one right here. You can just drag it in.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it just looks like it's a little, it's a little user error kind of thing.
Yes, sir. I get it now. Thanks.
Yeah, man. You have some potholes on your path to learning.
Yeah. So and about the thing not popping up for me. So to do delete Revit
Uninstall.
and
uninstall.
reinstall it and see if I could do it again and see if it.
Yeah, man. I think it's something up with the installation.
So if not, I got to meet about next class.
Well, regardless if it's not, just start working on the model. So if it means, remember, you can work on the model even if you're not connected to the server. We can always reconnect you next week.
Okay.
All right. But just start working on it so that you have it. All right.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So thanks.
Yeah, man. No problem.
So on the Zoom chat.
What about the Zoom chat?
I'm not in the Zoom chat.
All right. So, did you sign up for the website, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna send out another round of invitations. Because what I do, I copy the names that sent me that join the class, and I just paste it in Zoom and say, send these people invites. So I will send out another round again. So remember to send me the address that you use for your
Yes, and I'll send it over.
Yeah. All right, good. Yeah, I see. All right then, take care.
All right, so thanks.
Sir, I sent mine.
Yeah, man, I see them. Okay, guys.
I sent some questions in the chat.
I can imagine. I just ignore it, don't it?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to have to probably scroll up as well. It's a long time you send them to me. What it has to do with the connection issues?
I was I think I was actually logged in for the collaboration, but something was happening and I don't know what was wrong, and you were saying to just restart.
All
So when I
right.
restarted and to like log in, the ID that you initially sent me to get the file, it's logged out. So if I could have it back to do it again.
Oh, yeah, man. Right. So I'm
That
gonna.
one I'm not a part of the Zoom chat.
Okay, I'll send out another invite again. I will send out one after today. Let me send you your ID again. So what we'll do is, because I have to go into another class now. So just start your model in 2024. Use the recording. When I save this class recording, use the recording to see if you can set it up. If not, then we'll look on it when you come back to class. But start the model in the meantime.
Okay, sir. And I sent the ID from the tier 1 in the chat as well.
Yes, thank you. Cool.
Yes, sir. Bye,
All
sir.
right.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Take care.